or you're using the same piece of hardware, it will basically use that catalog and reapply those pointers to those files in the Windows 7 or Windows Vista native operating system. So you can use it to migrate from Windows XP to Windows Vista, Windows XP to Windows 7, Windows Vista to Windows 7, and it also supports migration from a 32-bit OS into a 64-bit OS. So a lot of great advantages to this model. So what I'm going to do here is insert a USB external hard drive. And here I've made a couple of small copies. I've taken the USMT contents from my Windows AIK folder, labeled the platform versions x64 and x86 for the tools. And I've created a simple batch file that basically looks for the existence of those USMT files on an external drive and copies them into the Windows USMT folder using Xcopy. Now I've also got for a platform check, essentially by looking for a x86 driver, and I've got the command lines here to support USMT offline hard link migration from a windows.old directory. So we've got scanstate.exe. We've got basically the store where those files will be stored as a catalog of hard links. Commands to overwrite, the hard link and no compress command, which you have to use in tandem together. We've got a provision there for EFS migration. And then the two XML files which actually control what gets migrated, the manifests of what gets migrated, migapp.xml, which will migrate your application settings, and migdocs.xml, which will migrate your files from the old operating system. And where we're going to actually target that migration is by using this offline WinDir switch at the C drive to windows.old to the Windows folder. The rest of the command line just shows where logs are stored. And I've got this for an x86 or an x64 machine. So again, a fairly simple batch file to write. But this will automatically migrate my system from Windows.old into the full OS. So you can imagine just walking from machine to machine with a USB drive, or copying the files down and having a package perform that operation post-install would be a fairly easy process to automate. So I'm going to go ahead and run this command as an administrator. And for that I need to go through an elevation prompt. And now that copies all of my USMT files to the Windows 7 OS in the Windows folder. Now I'm going to go through hard link file migration. So I had approximately 26 gigs of files in both visible and hidden folders, about 10,500 or so files total. And now I'm migrating all of those files and all of those folders into the Windows 7 operating system. So this will run for a few minutes and basically do something within a few minutes that would have taken several hours to do if you were to save those files off to a share and then back onto the natively installed Windows 7 OS. Now obviously that process would be faster if you copied those files out of Windows.old and into the user accounts, but it would require you to then go out and remap basically things like PST files in your Outlook instance, or any other application settings that you would want to maintain on the new PC. So there, my desktop icons have migrated. There we have it. So the batch file has completed its operation. Now let's go ahead and run a couple of tests to make sure that my data was indeed migrated. So first I'm going to go into Documents. And you'll see that I've got all of my documents migrated now from Windows XP into Windows 7. Again, a relatively quick process. Now I will go ahead and open Internet Explorer, and you'll see that even all of my favorites migrated into into Internet Explorer automatically via the User State Migration Tools migration. So just to do a quick check as to how many files were migrated, just to show the relative speed of how fast the migration took place, I'll do a quick scan of properties, and you'll see that all of the 26 plus gigabytes of information was migrated from Windows.old into my user account. So there was a demonstration of USMT and how that can be used with the offline migration scenario.